I never thought I'd end up here, stranded on a 14-foot aluminum fishing boat without an engine, drifting somewhere in the middle of Lake Pontchartrain. The oars are gone, lost 3 days ago when I had to use one to bash in the skull of something that used to be human, something that had somehow swum out this far. The other oar I'd been using to paddle just slipped from my grip yesterday during a moment of exhaustion. Watched it float away, too tired to lunge for it, too defeated. My name is Dalton Reeves, and I've been on this boat for 19 days now. 19 days of sun exposure, dehydration that comes and goes, depending on when it rains, and a gnawing hunger that's become my constant companion. The boat rocks gently with the lake's rhythm. A motion that was soothing for about 6 hours on day one and has been nauseating ever since. Let me tell you how I got here. How anyone gets anywhere these days, through a series of increasingly desperate decisions that seemed brilliant at the time. It started 6 weeks ago when the news stopped pretending everything was fine. Before that, there'd been reports of violent attacks in New Orleans' 7th Ward, some kind of rabies outbreak, they said. Telling people to stay indoors, avoid contact with anyone showing symptoms of aggression or fever. The usual bureaucratic nonsense that sounds official, but means nothing. I was working at Thibault's Marina, had been for 3 years since dropping out of Tulane. My parents had been furious about the tuition money wasted, but I couldn't sit in lecture halls anymore. Couldn't pretend I cared about business management when all I wanted was to be near the water. Thibault, this ancient Cajun man who smelled like fish guts and chicory coffee, he'd given me a job maintaining the rental boats. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. The day things fell apart for real, I was replacing spark plugs on a pontoon boat when I heard screaming from the main office. Not the startled kind of scream you get from seeing a snake or a big spider. This was primal. The kind of sound that activates something deep in your brain, some ancient warning system that says, run, run now, don't look back. But I looked. Of course I looked. Thibault was on the ground. This woman, I'd seen her earlier arguing about rental prices, was on top of him. At first I thought it was an assault, maybe a robbery gone wrong. Then I saw the blood. So much blood. It was pouring from Thibault's throat where she'd torn into him with her teeth, actually torn into him. Her face was buried in his neck and she was making these wet, gulping sounds. I froze. Every survival instinct said move, but my legs wouldn't work. I watched Thibault's legs stop kicking, watched his hand, the one with the faded anchor tattoo, slowly relax and fall to the wooden dock. The woman turned her head toward me. Her face was wrong. Eyes were clouded over like cataracts, but somehow still seeing, focused on me with this terrible intensity. Blood covered her mouth and chin, dripping onto Thibault's chest. She opened her mouth, and this sound came out. Not quite a growl, not quite human. Something in between. That broke the paralysis. I ran. The marina had maybe 20 boats in various states of rental or repair. I didn't think, just grabbed the nearest set of keys from the lockbox. Thank God Thibault had left it open, and sprinted for the dock. Behind me, I could hear that thing that used to be a woman scrambling to her feet, hear the slap of her bare feet on wood as she gave chase. I jumped into the first boat the keys matched, a Boston whaler, 19 feet, decent engine. Cranked it and nothing happened. Cranked it again, nothing. The woman was 10 feet away now, arms outstretched, mouth open and eager. I could see something was wrong with her jaw, like it had unhinged slightly to accommodate that unnatural bite. Third crank, and the engine caught. I slammed it into reverse and almost fell overboard as the boat lurched backward. The woman reached the edge of the dock and kept coming, didn't even pause before plunging into the water. She went under, and for a second I thought she'd drown, thought that would be it. She surfaced, started swimming toward me with this jerky, wrong stroke, but making progress. They could swim. These things could swim. I got the boat turned around and opened the throttle, putting distance between us. Looking back, I could see her still coming, still swimming, not stopping until she was so far behind I lost sight of her in the glare off the water. That was my first escape, my first survival. I thought I was lucky. I took the whaler out into the lake, figuring I'd wait out whatever was happening on shore. The radio was going crazy with emergency broadcasts. Martial law declared, military checkpoints being overrun, use of deadly force authorized. Then, the broadcasts started getting more desperate. Then, they started cutting out. By the second day, there was just static. I saw the smoke from the boat, New Orleans burning, the whole skyline obscured by black columns rising into the humid air. At night, the fires gave everything this orange glow, like sunset that never ended. Other boats were out on the lake too. Some were anchored in clusters, people figuring there was safety in numbers. Some were racing around, burning fuel, looking for... what? Rescue? Safety? There wasn't any. I kept my distance from all of them. The whaler had half a tank when I took it. I conserved fuel, just drifted mostly, used the engine only when necessary. It lasted 11 days. On the 12th day, I cranked the key and got nothing. Out of gas. By then I'd figured out water collection, spread a tarp during rain, funnel it into every container I could find. The boat had a small cooler with some sandwiches someone had left, already growing mold, but I ate them anyway. Found a tackle box with some beef jerky and a crushed package of peanut butter crackers. That was it for food. I tried fishing, had plenty of gear on board, but I'd never been good at it. Caught exactly nothing in 3 days of trying. Watched the fish ignore my bait with what felt like personal contempt. On day 14, drifting wherever the wind and current took me, I saw the boat that would become my prison. This little aluminum fishing boat, maybe 14 feet, the kind old-timers use for bass fishing in shallow bayous. It was just floating there, empty, no motor on the transom. Someone had abandoned it or fallen out or worse. But it had supplies. I could see a plastic storage bin and what looked like a small cooler. My stomach made the decision before my brain could. I jumped into the water, stupid, so stupid in retrospect, and swam to it. Pulled myself over the side. The storage bin had a small camping stove, propane canister, a pot, some waterproof matches, a fishing kit better than what was on the whaler. The cooler had ice that had long melted, but also 3 bottles of water, a bag of apples that were starting to get soft, and a Ziploc bag with what looked like homemade jerky. I was so focused on my discovery, I didn't notice the whaler drifting away. The wind had picked up, and by the time I looked up, the bigger boat was already 50 feet away, heading in the opposite direction from the aluminum boat. I could have jumped back in, swam for it, but I was already in this boat with supplies, and I was so tired of swimming, of fighting, of trying. I watched the whaler drift away until it was just a white speck on the blue-gray water. That was 5 days ago. 5 days on this tiny aluminum boat with no engine, no oars now, just drifting with whatever current wants to take me. The supplies I found are running low, the water bottles are empty, the apples are gone. The jerky is gone. I've got the camping stove and propane, the fishing gear, the pot, matches, and not much else. Oh, and I've got time, so much time to think about every mistake that led me here. The sun is directly overhead now, beating down on the aluminum hull, turning the boat into a reflective oven. I've rigged the tarp as a sunshade, tied it to the sides of the boat with fishing line. It helps, but not enough. My skin is burned red and peeling, lips cracked and bleeding. I got a bottle I'm using to collect my urine. Read somewhere you can drink it once, maybe twice through your system in survival situations. Haven't gotten desperate enough for that yet. Almost, but not yet. The fishing line is in the water. I've got a hook baited with a piece of my shirt because I read somewhere that fish will sometimes bite at fabric if it moves right. Haven't caught anything. The fish can probably sense my desperation, my amateur flailing in their domain. From this far out, I can't see the shoreline clearly. Just a dark line on the horizon that could be land or could be smoke or could be nothing. Sound travels weird over water. Sometimes I swear I can hear screams carrying across the distance. Sometimes I hear what might be gunshots. Sometimes there's just silence, which is worse. I've seen other boats occasionally. Stay away from them. After what I saw on day 16, I'll never approach another boat again. It was a yacht, something expensive that probably cost more than I'd make in 10 years, big enough to live on, with a flying bridge and everything. I was so excited when I saw it, so sure that here was rescue. Here were people with resources who could help. I waved my shirt, shouted until my voice gave out. The yacht changed course, headed toward me. Got close enough I could see there were 4 people on deck. They looked healthy, well-fed, not like me with my peeling skin and cracked lips. A man called out, asked if I was alone. I said yes. He asked what I had. I told him not much, just the boat and some fishing gear. He conferred with the others. Then, one of them raised a rifle. I dropped flat in the boat before I even processed what I was seeing. The shot cracked across the water, hit the spot where I'd been standing. I heard them laughing, actually laughing. Another shot pinged off the aluminum hull. They were target shooting, using me for sport. I stayed down, didn't move, played dead. Heard them debate whether to come closer to loot my body. Someone said it wasn't worth the fuel. They argued for what felt like hours, but was probably minutes. Finally, their engine rumbled and they moved away. I didn't move for another hour after that, stayed flat in the bottom of the boat with lake water sloshing around me, convinced they'd come back. They didn't. That taught me something. The infection, the dead walking around biting people, that wasn't the only threat anymore. Maybe it never was. People had always been the problem. The apocalypse just stripped away the pretense. So now I'm alone. Truly alone. And I've got to figure out how to survive. The fishing isn't working with my makeshift bait. I need protein, need something, anything. I've lost weight I couldn't afford to lose. My ribs are showing through skin gone leathery from sun and salt. My hands shake when I try to tie knots in the fishing line. I've tried making the boat drift toward shore by splashing water on one side, hoping to push myself in that direction. Physics doesn't work that way, or I'm doing it wrong. Probably both. I just end up wet and exhausted and still drifting in whatever direction the wind decides. Day 20 arrives with another sunrise that hurts to look at. I've stopped keeping careful track of time. What's the point? The days blur together, wake up stiff and sore, check the fishing line, nothing. Watch the water, watch the sky, think about food, think about water, think about Thibault's hand going slack, think about my mother's voice on the phone the last time I talked to her, 2 days before everything collapsed. She was annoyed I hadn't visited for her birthday. Now I'll never visit again. Self-pity isn't useful. I know that. But out here, with nothing but water in every direction and the taste of copper from my bleeding lips, what else is there? Something bumps the boat. I freeze. The aluminum hull rocks slightly with impact. Could be debris. There's plenty of that floating around. Pieces of docks, plastic containers, things I don't want to identify. But debris doesn't usually bump with purpose. Another bump, harder this time. I crawl carefully toward the side, look over. The water is murky from sediment stirred up by yesterday's wind. Can't see more than a foot down. The boat rocks again. Definitely something underneath. Fish, probably. A big one. Maybe a catfish. Lake Pontchartrain has catfish that can get up to 50, 60 pounds. Could be one of them attracted by the boat's shadow. Or by me. I'm bleeding a little where the sun has blistered my shoulders raw. Blood in the water. I grab the fishing rod, check the line. Still have some left on the spool. I tie on a bigger hook, one of the treble hooks from the tackle box. Not ideal, but it's what I have. No bait except I look at my hand. The skin on my palm is already torn up from handling the line. I press my thumbnail into one of the cuts until it opens fresh and bleeds. I smear blood on the hook. Let it sink down next to the boat where I felt the bumps. Wait. The sun moves across the sky. My shadow in the boat shifts. I'm starting to think I imagined the whole thing when the rod bends. just a little at first, then harder. Something's taken the hook. I set it with a jerk of the rod, feel the weight on the other end. It's big, real big. The rod bends almost double and line starts peeling off the reel. I try to work it, pull and reel, like I've seen fishermen do. The thing fights. God, it fights. My arms are burning, shoulders screaming. The boat is rocking with the struggle. I get it closer, can see something pale rising through the murky water. Not a fish. I drop the rod before my brain fully processes what I'm seeing. The line goes slack. The thing sinks back down. My hands are shaking. That wasn't a fish. That was gray-white skin. That was a human shape. One of them. In the water. Under my boat. I scramble back to the center of the hull, away from the sides. My heart is hammering so hard I can feel it in my throat. How long has it been down there? How many of them are down there? The boat bumps again, then again. I count at least 3 distinct impacts from different directions. They're circling underneath me. I don't know how long they can hold their breath, if they even need to breathe. Don't know if they can climb into the boat or if they'll just keep bumping it until I tip over. Don't know anything except that I'm floating on 14 feet of aluminum over water filled with the dead. The bumping continues for hours. Sometimes it stops for long enough. I think they've moved on. Then it starts again. I sit in the exact center of the boat, knees pulled to my chest, trying not to move, trying not to breathe loud, trying to be invisible. Sunset comes. The bumping finally stops. I don't sleep that night. Can't. Every small wave that rocks the boat could be them returning. I stare at the water, at the dark shapes and shadows, seeing threats everywhere. By morning, I've made a decision. I need to move. Staying here, drifting, waiting to die, that's not survival. That's giving up. And I'm not ready to give up yet. I take off my shirt, what's left of it, and tie it to one of the bench seats, hold the other end and wave it back and forth, trying to catch the wind like a sail. It's stupid and desperate and probably won't work, but I have to try something. The wind catches the fabric for a second, then drops it. I try again and again. On the 5th try, I get a sustained breeze and the boat actually moves. Just a little, just inches. But it's movement in a direction I'm choosing. I keep it up until my arms give out, manage to move the boat maybe 20 feet in what I think is the direction of shore. It's progress. Tiny, pathetic progress. But it's something. I collapse in the bottom of the boat, chest heaving. Everything hurts. But I moved. I'm not just drifting anymore. The fishing line is still in the water. I haven't pulled it up since yesterday, since I saw what was down there. Don't want to, but I need food, and the line is my only chance. I pull it up slowly, carefully. The hook is bare. Whatever I snagged yesterday took the bait and got away. Probably for the best. I rebait with more blood. I got plenty of cuts and scrapes to work with, and drop it back down. But in the opposite side of the boat from where the bumping happened, maybe the fish have stayed away from that side too. Maybe they're smarter than me. An hour passes. 2. The sun climbs higher, heat building. I got the tarp up for shade, but it's still brutal. I've been rationing the last few drops of water I collected during the previous rain, but I finish it now. My mouth is so dry, my tongue feels swollen. The rod bends. I grab it, start reeling. Whatever's on the other end doesn't fight much. Probably a small fish, but I'll take it. I'll take anything. It breaks the surface. A base, maybe 2 pounds. Not big, but it's real. It's food. It's something erupts from the water behind it. Gray hands, waterlogged and bloated, they grab at the fish at the line, pulling. I see the face break the surface. A woman. Or what used to be a woman. Her eyes are filmed over white, mouth hanging open, water pouring out. She's still biting at the air, at the fish, at anything. I pull harder on the rod. She's pulling too, using the line to draw herself closer to the boat. The fish tears free, and she goes for it, sinks back under with her prize. I'm left holding a rod with an empty line, watching the water where she disappeared. They hunt fish. The dead hunt fish. That's actually important information. They're not just mindlessly wandering. They're hunting, feeding, operating on some basic drive that's more than just bite, infect, repeat. It also means every time I catch something, I'm sending a signal. Blood and struggle in the water. I'm ringing a dinner bell. I pull the line up completely, tie the rod down, no more fishing. It's too dangerous. But now I have no way to get food. The jerky is gone. The apples are gone. I've got nothing. I lie back in the boat, stare at the sky. Clouds are building to the south, tall white columns that could mean rain later. Rain means water. Water I can drink. I'll focus on that. Hydration first, food. I'll figure out food. My stomach cramps with hunger. I ignore it, not like I have a choice. The clouds build all afternoon. By evening, they've turned dark gray, blocking out the sunset. Wind picks up, choppy waves making the boat rock harder. I get the pot ready, tip it over to empty any old water and debris. Wait for the rain. It comes with thunder and lightning that makes me flinch with each crack. The rain is cold, almost painful on my sunburned skin, but I don't care. I angle the pot to collect as much as possible. Watch it fill with beautiful, clean water. I drink straight from the pot when it's half full. Can't wait. The water is the best thing I've ever tasted. Cool and fresh, and life itself pouring down my throat. I drink until I'm bloated, until I have to stop or I'll vomit. Then I let the pot fill more, cap it with a piece of plastic I tie down. The storm passes. I've got water, almost 2 quarts of it. Enough for days if I'm careful. I curl up in the boat, wet and cold but hydrated, and finally sleep. Morning of day 22. I wake to something I haven't seen in a while. Other boats, 3 of them, all headed in the same direction. Not big ones, mostly fishing boats in a pontoon. They're moving with purpose, paddling and rowing, heading toward what I think is the North Shore. I wave my arms, try to get their attention. One of them sees me, a man with a thick beard. He stands up in his boat, shades his eyes to look at me. I keep waving. He sits back down, keeps rowing. They all keep going, passing maybe 100 yards away, none of them stopping. I'm not worth their time. No motor, nothing to offer, just another mouth to feed. I get it, I do. But it still hurts. I watch them disappear toward the horizon. Wonder what's over there that they're all heading toward. Maybe there's a settlement. Maybe there's safety. Or maybe they're just running toward the next disaster. Without oars or an engine, I'll never know. I check my water supply. Still good. Check my body. Ribs showing, arms thin, legs weak. Not good. I need protein, need calories, need something, or I'm going to waste away to nothing out here. There's one source of protein on this boat. Me. My own body. I've heard of people in survival situations resorting to, no, I'm not there yet. I'm not. I put the fishing line back in the water, but this time I tie the rod to the boat and leave it. If something takes it, fine. If nothing does, also fine. I'm not actively fishing anymore, just seeing what happens. The day passes slowly. I drift. The sun burns. I ration my water. 3 sips at sunrise, 3 at midday, 3 at sunset. It's not enough, but it's what I can spare. Around mid-afternoon, I spot something floating. Debris, but specific debris. A cooler. The square kind, white plastic. It's bobbing about 50 feet away, carried on the same current as me. I have no way to get to it. Can only watch as it floats closer. Closer. Passing maybe 10 feet from my boat. So close. Inside could be food, water, supplies. Could be nothing. Could be a corpse for all I know. But it's something different, something new, and I'm desperate enough to want it. I watch it float past, watch it get further away, watch it become a white dot, and then disappear. This is what my life has become. watching opportunities float by while I sit paralyzed and useless. The sun sets on day 22. I've had about a cup of water total, no food. My stomach has stopped cramping and gone numb, which I know is bad. That means my body is starting to eat itself, breaking down muscle for energy. I need to do something, anything. In the tackle box there's a mirror, one of those small signal mirrors for flashing rescue planes. I haven't used it because what's the point? Who's looking for me? But now I take it out, look at my reflection in the fading light. I barely recognize myself. My face is gaunt, eyes sunken, skin stretched tight over bone, lips cracked and bleeding, hair matted with salt and grease. I look like one of them, like I'm already dead and just don't know it yet. I turn the mirror around, use the reflective side to scan the horizon. Nothing. Just water and distance and the dark line that might be shore. Wait, there, a flash, something reflecting the last sunlight. I focus on it. Definitely something out there. Could be glass, could be metal, could be another boat. It's in the direction the other boats were headed this morning, maybe a mile away, maybe 2. Impossible to tell over water. I file it away. Without means to move toward it, the information is useless. But it's something. Evidence that there's something out there. Night falls. I'm cold despite the humid air. My body doesn't have enough fat left to regulate temperature properly. I huddle under the tarp, shivering, trying to conserve energy. The boat rocks. I'm used to that by now, the constant motion of the water. But this is different. Rhythmic. Deliberate. Bump. 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 They're back. I don't move. Don't even breathe loud. They're under the boat again, doing whatever it is they do, circling, hunting, existing in that horrible space between life and death. The bumping continues for hours. I count them. 1, 2, 3, 4 distinct impacts from different spots. At least 4 of them down there. Maybe more. Around midnight, one of them tries to climb in. I hear the scrape of fingers on aluminum, see the edge of the boat dip down as weight pulls on it. I scramble to the opposite side, trying to balance, keep the boat from tipping. Gray fingers appear over the side, then a hand, then an arm. The face follows, a man, young, maybe younger than me. His eyes are clouded over, but his mouth is open and reaching, always reaching. I grab the pot, the only solid thing I have, and smash it down on his fingers. The metal clangs. He doesn't flinch, doesn't feel pain. His grip stays firm. I hit again. The pot dents. His fingers break but don't release. The boat is tipping. Water sloshes over the opposite side. If he gets much more of himself in, we'll capsize. I'll be in the water with them. I drop the pot and grab his arm. It's cold and waterlogged, skin soft enough my fingers sink in. I don't think. I bite down on his wrist as hard as I can. The taste is horrible, rotting meat and lake water and something chemical I can't identify. But my teeth break through skin and I tear, rip, pull back. Meat comes away. His hand separates at the wrist, tendons snapping. The weight on the boat side lightens. The hand is still gripping, but without the arm pulling, I can pry the fingers off. I throw the hand into the water on the other side. The body sinks back, splashes, disappears. I'm covered in black blood and pieces of flesh. I vomit over the side. Water and bile, nothing solid to come up. Vomit until I'm dry heaving, ribs aching. When I can finally breathe again, I realize something. The bumping has stopped. They're gone. I scared them off, or confused them. Or maybe they think I'm one of them now that I'm covered in their gore. I don't know and don't care. They're gone. I crawl to the center of the boat, shaking uncontrollably. I've got dead flesh in my mouth. I lean over and vomit again, spit and spit, trying to get the taste out. Reach for my water and take a long drink, swish it around, spit it out. Can't waste water, but I need this gone. The taste lingers anyway. Will probably linger forever. I don't sleep that night. Just sit there, watching the water, waiting for them to return. They don't. Dawn on day 23. I'm alive, covered in dried blood and traumatized but alive. The sun reveals something interesting. During the struggle last night, the boat drifted significantly. The flash I saw yesterday, the light on the horizon, it's closer now. Close enough I can make out structure, buildings, a dock, some kind of shoreline development. The current is taking me toward it, slowly but definitely. By midday, I might actually reach it. Hope is dangerous. Hope will kill you when it's disappointed, but I can't help it. Watch that shoreline get closer and let myself believe I might actually get off this boat. By noon, I can see details. It's a marina, or was. A long dock extending into the water, buildings behind it that look intact. No smoke, no obvious signs of fire or destruction. Could be abandoned, could be occupied. Either way, it's land. The current is pulling me toward the dock, but at an angle. I'm going to miss it by maybe 20 feet. So close! After everything, I'm going to drift right past Salvation. I take my shirt again, the same rag I've been using, and tie it to the seat. Hold the other end and lean out over the side of the boat as far as I dare, dragging the fabric through the water to create resistance. Trying to angle the boat toward the dock. It's working, just barely. But it's working. The boat's trajectory shifts. 5 degrees, 10. I'm going to make it. I'm actually going to make it. 50 feet from the dock. I can see details now. Some boats still tied up, including a nice cabin cruiser that looks untouched. The dock itself has debris, overturned chairs, a broken railing, but it's structurally sound, 30 feet. I can see the marina building, glass doors reflecting the afternoon sun. Can't see inside, can't tell if anyone's home. 20 feet. The boat is moving so slowly now, current dying as I get closer to shore. But the momentum is there. 10 feet. Almost. Almost. I'm leaning out as far as I can, reaching for the dock. My fingers brush wood. I grab, but the boat's still moving, pulls away. I lunge, get both hands on a cleat, bolted to the dock. Hold on. The boat continues past, but I've got the dock. I pull myself up, every muscle screaming. My arms have no strength left. I get one elbow over, then the other, drag my body onto the dock like a seal, graceless and desperate. I'm on land, solid, non-moving land. I lie there face down on sun-hot wood for a long time, just breathing, just existing in this new reality where I'm not floating anymore. When I finally look up, I see movement. The glass doors of the marina building. Something behind them, watching me. I freeze. Could be a person. Could be one of them. From this distance, with the sun glare, I can't tell. The doors open. A woman steps out. She's human. Definitely human. Clean clothes, healthy looking, holding what looks like a baseball bat. She's got dark hair pulled back in a braid, maybe 30 years old, hard expression. "You alone?" she calls out. I try to answer, but my voice comes out as a croak. I nod instead. "You bit?" I shake my head. "Stand up. Let me see you." I get to my knees, then slowly to my feet. The dock sways under me. No, I'm swaying. My legs don't remember how to stand on solid ground. I hold my arms out, turn in a slow circle, showing her I'm not hiding bites. She studies me for a long moment, takes in my condition, the sunburn, the weight loss, the dried blood all over me. "That your blood?" She gestures at my shirt and skin. "No," I manage to say. Voice sounds alien to me. "Theirs. One of them tried to get in my boat last night." "You kill it?" I bit it." That makes her pause. "You bit it? Its hand. To get it off the boat. Didn't know what else to do." She considers this, then lowers the bat slightly. "You've got guts. Stupid guts, but guts. What's your name?" "Dalton." "I'm Kestrel." She jerks her head toward the building. "Come on. Get inside before something sees you." I take a step forward and my legs give out. I hit the dock hard, knees cracking against wood. Kestrel curses under her breath, walks over and hauls me up. She's stronger than she looks, gets my arm over her shoulder and half carries me toward the building. We're almost to the doors when I hear it. A splash, then another, coming from the water where my boat is tied up. "Move!" Kestrel says, urgency in her voice. We stumble through the doors and she kicks them shut behind us, throws a deadbolt. Through the glass I can see them pulling themselves onto the dock, 4, 5, 6 of them, waterlogged and gray. They must have followed my boat all the way here, waiting for their chance. "Your boat led them right to us," Kestrel says flatly. "I didn't know. Yeah, nobody ever knows." She drags me further inside, through what was once a reception area. There's furniture barricading the windows, supplies stacked in corners. This place is set up as a shelter. She drops me onto a couch that smells like mildew. "Stay here. Don't touch anything. I need to deal with your friends outside." "They're not. I know what they're not." She grabs a spear from a rack on the wall. Actual spear. Looks homemade. Metal pipe sharpened to a point. "Just stay." She leaves through an interior door. I hear footsteps overhead. A minute later there's a bang from the roof, then another. She's got access to the roof, is attacking them from above. I should help? Should do something, but I can't move. My body has given up now that I'm somewhere safe. Every ounce of adrenaline that's been keeping me going has drained out. I hear the impacts, her spear hitting home, the bodies hitting the dock. 6 thuds total. Then silence. Kestrel returns 10 minutes later, spear dripping with black blood. She's not even breathing hard. "They're down," she says. "I'll burn them after dark. Can't risk the smoke during daylight." "There are more," I tell her. "In the water. Under the dock, probably." "Always are." She starts unbuckling a webbed belt around her waist, military surplus by the look of it. This place was overrun a week after everything started. I've spent the last month clearing it out, bit by bit. Dock walkers are the worst because you never know how many are down there. They can hold their breath longer than you'd think. Or maybe they don't need to breathe at all. Haven't figured that out yet. She disappears into another room, comes back with a bottle of water and a can of something, sets them on the table in front of me. "Drink slow. You eat that too fast and you'll puke it up." I look at the can, green beans. My hands shake as I pull the tab, struggle with it. She takes it from me, opens it, hands it back. I eat slowly like she said, but even so, my stomach rebels. I have to stop after 3 bites, let it settle. The water is harder to go slow with. I want to chug the entire bottle, but force myself to sip. "Where'd you drift from?" Kestrel asks, sitting across from me, cleaning her spear with a rag. "T-Bolt's Marina, other side of the lake. I've been on the water for, I have to think, 23 days. She whistles low. "And you're still alive. That's impressive. Most people last about 3 days before they do something stupid and drown." "I did plenty of stupid things. Just got lucky." "Lucky," she snorts. "Yeah, that's one word for it." She points at my shoulder, where the worst of my sunburn is peeling. "You're going to need treatment for that. Probably infected already. You got any other injuries I should know about?" "Everything hurts, but nothing's broken, I think." "You think? Great." She stands up. "Finish the beans, drink the water. There's a cot in the back office where I've been sleeping. You can have it for now. I'll take watch." "Watch for what?" She gives me a look that says, I'm an idiot. "For the 100 things that want to kill us. Get some rest, Dalton. You look like death warmed over." She's not wrong. I finish the beans, my stomach accepts them this time, and drink half the water bottle. Then I let her lead me to the office. There's a cot set up, some blankets, a lantern. Looks like a palace compared to the boat. I collapse onto it, and I'm asleep before she leaves the room. I wake up disoriented, heart pounding. For a second, I'm back on the boat, feeling it rock, feeling the bump of bodies underneath. Then I remember. The dock. Kestrel. I'm inside. It's dark outside. I can see through the office window, actually see, not just the endless water horizon. There are trees silhouetted against the sky, buildings, structure. My body aches everywhere. The sunburn feels like fire across my shoulders and face, but I'm alive, fed, watered, inside. I get up slowly, joints protesting. There's a bathroom attached to the office. I find it by feeling along the wall. Inside, there's a bucket of water, not clean enough to drink, but clean enough for washing. I use some to rinse my face, my hands. Watch the water turn gray-black with dried blood and filth. In the faint moonlight through the window, I can see my reflection in a small mirror over the sink. Kestrel was right. I look like death. Sunken eyes, hollow cheeks, skin stretched tight. My lips are cracked and bleeding. I look more like one of them than I do like a person. I splash more water on my face, scrub at the blood on my arms. It's dried on thick, will take more than a bucket to get clean. But I try anyway. Need to feel human again. There's noise from the front room. I freeze, listening. Footsteps, human footsteps, too rhythmic and purposeful to be them. Kestrel must be making rounds. I leave the bathroom and find her in the main room, checking the barricades. She's got a headlamp on, hands busy retying some rope that's worked loose on the window covering. "You're up," she says without turning around. "Good. Thought you might sleep through the night." "What time is it?" "Around midnight, give or take. Lost my watch 2 weeks ago. Been going by feel since then." She finishes with the rope, turns to face me. In the headlamp's light, I can see her more clearly. She's got scars, old ones on her arms, a newer one across her cheek. Her eyes are hard but not cruel. Survivor's eyes. "Feel better?" she asks. "Feel less like I'm dying? That count?" "It counts." She moves to a table where she's got supplies laid out. Cans of food, water bottles, medical stuff. "You need to let me look at those burns. They're going to get infected if they're not already." "I can..." "Sit down, Dalton. That wasn't a request." I sit. She brings over a first aid kit, starts examining my shoulders and back. Her hands are efficient, clinical. She's done this before. These are second-degree burns, some third on your shoulders where it's worst. She opens a tube of something, starts applying it. It burns worse than the sun did, and I have to clench my teeth to keep from yelping. "You're lucky you're not dead from sun poisoning. Another few days out there, and you would have been." "Lucky," I repeat, echoing her earlier tone. "Seems to be your thing." She finishes with the ointment, starts bandaging the worst spots. "So, T-Bolt's Marina, I know that place. Old Cajun guy ran it, right?" "Yeah, he was the first one I saw get attacked. First one I saw turn." "Didn't turn," she corrects. "They don't turn. They die, and then something else is using their body. Important distinction." "You sound sure about that." "I'm sure. I watched my brother die and come back. That thing that stood up, that moved around in his skin, that wasn't Marcus anymore. That was something else." Marcus. Common name. But hearing it makes me think about all the people who are gone, all the names that don't matter anymore because the people attached to them are dead or worse. "I'm sorry," I say. "Yeah, me too." She finishes the bandaging, packs up the first aid kit. "You see anyone else alive out there? Anyone on the water?" I tell her about the yacht, about the people who shot at me, about the other boats I saw this morning, all heading in the same direction as I ended up. She listens, face unreadable. When I finish, she says, "The boats you saw this morning, they were probably headed here. We've got the only intact dock on this stretch of shore. Most of the others got destroyed in the panic, people ramming them with boats trying to escape. This one survived because it's reinforced, built for storm surge." "So there are more people here?" There were. Group of 6 came through 3 days ago. Stayed one night, took some supplies, moved on. Said they were heading north, trying to get a higher ground. Figured the dead can't climb mountains. She shrugs. "Maybe they're right, or maybe there's different problems in the mountains. You didn't go with them? I don't do groups anymore. Groups get loud. Loud gets you killed. She stands up, stretches. Besides, I've got everything I need here. Marina was well stocked before everything fell apart. Owner was a prepper type, had supplies squirreled away all over the place, food, water filtration, medical supplies, weapons. I could last months here if I'm careful. So why are you letting me stay? She looks at me for a long moment. Haven't decided if I am yet. Right now you're too weak to be useful or threatening. We'll see how things go once you're recovered. Fair enough. I wouldn't trust me either. Get more rest, she says. Tomorrow you'll need to help me burn those bodies on the dock. After that, we'll see about getting you cleaned up properly. There's a rain barrel outside that's got decent water. We can rig up something so you can wash. Thank you, I say. Mean it. She waves it off. Don't thank me yet. You'll be earning your keep. This place doesn't run itself. She's right. Nothing's free anymore. Everything costs something. I go back to the cot and lie down. Through the window I can see stars. Actual stars, not obscured by water or haze. I fall asleep counting them. The next morning, Kestrel wakes me before dawn. We have coffee, instant, mixed with lake water that's been boiled and filtered, but it's still coffee and it tastes like civilization. Then, she hands me a gas can and a book of matches. The bodies are on the dock where I left them. We pour gas, light them up, make sure they burn completely, bone and all. Can't risk anything remaining that might get up again. We go outside. The air is cool, humid, that pre-dawn quiet that feels like the world holding its breath. The dock stretches out in front of us, and I can see the 6 bodies she killed yesterday. Already starting to bloat in the heat. We work in silence. Pour the gasoline. Make sure it soaks into the clothes and hair. The smell makes me gag, but I push through it. When all 6 are ready, Kestrel lights a strip of cloth, tosses it onto the first one. The fire catches fast, spreads to the others. Black smoke rises, thick and oily. The smell is worse than the gasoline. Burning hair and meat and something else. Something wrong that makes my stomach turn. We need to make sure it all burns, Kestrel says. Sometimes the fire goes out before it's done. Then, you've got a half-burnt body that can still move, still bite. Seen it happen. We watch the fire for over an hour, occasionally poking the remains with long poles to make sure everything's burning evenly. By the time the sun is fully up, there's nothing left but ash and some bone fragments. Kestrel takes a broom and sweeps it all into the water. Fish food, she says. Circle of life and all that shit. We head back inside. My legs are shaking from standing that long. I'm still weak, still recovering. But I helped. I contributed. That's something. Kestrel makes breakfast, canned peaches, and some kind of protein bar that tastes like cardboard but has calories. We eat sitting on the floor by one of the barricaded windows where we can look out through a small gap. You know anything about boats? She asks. I worked at a marina, maintained them. Can do basic engine repair, hull patching, that kind of thing. She nods. Good. Because that cabin cruiser tied to the dock, the big one you probably saw when you came in, it's got engine trouble, won't start. If you can fix it, we've got options. Mobility. I can look at it. No promises, though. Depends what's wrong. Better than nothing. She finishes her peaches, sets the can aside. There's also a pontoon boat that's intact. No engine, but it's bigger than your little aluminum thing. If we can't fix the cabin cruiser, we could at least use the pontoon to move around the marina, check the other docks for supplies. It's a plan, a real plan, better than just drifting and waiting to die. We spend the rest of the morning setting up the rain barrel bath Kestrel mentioned. She's got a tarp rigged between 2 buildings, creating a private space. The barrel is full of rainwater, and she set up a simple system, a bucket with holes punched in the bottom, suspended by rope. Fill it, pull it up, stand underneath, and it's a shower. I strip down, trying not to look at my own body. I've lost so much weight the last 3 weeks. Ribs showing, hip bones prominent, arms thin. I look like a concentration camp survivor. The water is cold, but I don't care. I scrub with a bar of soap, real soap, luxury soap, and watch weeks of dirt and blood and lake scum wash away. My skin underneath is pale and damaged, but it's clean. Kestrel's left me some clothes, men's clothes, probably belonging to whoever owned the marina. They're too big, but I roll up the sleeves and pant legs, tie the waist with some cord. Clean and dry feels incredible. When I come back inside, she's got a plate of food waiting. Canned chicken mixed with some kind of rice. It's not hot, but it's edible, and my stomach accepts it gratefully. We'll check the cabin cruiser this afternoon, she says. For now, rest. You're still recovering. Pushing too hard too fast will just set you back. She's right, but I'm restless. 3 weeks of forced inactivity on the boat, and now I want to move, to do something useful. I explore the marina building while Kestrel does her patrols. It's bigger than it looked from outside. There's the main reception area, the office where the cot is, a small kitchen, a storage room packed with supplies, and a second floor that Kestrel's turned into a watch station. From the second floor windows, I can see the lake stretching out to the horizon. My boat is still tied to the dock, empty and pathetic. Hard to believe I survived 3 weeks on that thing. Hard to believe I'm standing here now, on solid ground, looking at it from the outside. There's movement in the water near the dock. I watch, see a shape drift by under the surface, gray and bloated. One of them doing their slow underwater patrol. Kestrel was right. There are more down there. Probably dozens, maybe more. The lake is full of them. An entire population of the dead, preserved by the water, hunting anything that falls in. I shudder and step back from the window. That afternoon, we go to check the cabin cruiser. It's a nice boat. Probably cost 6 figures before everything collapsed. 30 feet long, sleeping cabin below, flying bridge on top. The kind of boat rich people use for weekend cruises, parties, showing off. Now, it's just a resource. We climb aboard carefully. Kestrel goes first, spear ready, checking to make sure nothing's hiding inside. I follow with a pipe wrench I found in the storage room. The cabin is clear. Someone was living here at some point. There's a sleeping bag, empty food cans, a journal with entries dated from early in the outbreak. The last entry is from 5 weeks ago. Just says, going to shore for supplies, back by dark. They never made it back. I check the engine while Kestrel stands guard. It's an inboard motor, decent size. I go through the checklist, fuel lines, spark plugs, battery connections. Everything looks okay until I get to the fuel tank. Empty. Bone dry. No gas, I tell Kestrel. Tank's empty. Everything else looks fine, but without fuel, there's no starting it. She curses. Of course, should have checked that first. You'd think the apocalypse would teach me something about assumptions. Is there gas anywhere in the marina? Storage tanks? Used to be. Had underground tanks that serviced the dock pumps. But when the power went out, the pumps stopped working. I don't know if there's still gas down there or if people drained it all in the first few days. She thinks for a moment. There might be a manual pump in the storage room. Let me check. We head back to the building. Kestrel digs through the storage room while I wait, watching the water through the window. More shapes moving down there, always moving. She comes back with a hand pump and some tubing. This might work. If there's gas in the underground tanks, we can manually pump it up. It'll take forever, but it's possible. Where are the tanks? Under the dock, access hatch, near the fuel station. Of course they are. Nothing can be easy. We spend the rest of the afternoon rigging up the pump system. The access hatch is right where she said, a metal cover set into the dock. We pry it open and I can smell gasoline fumes rising from below. Good sign. Means there's something down there. The manual pump is old but functional. I feed the intake tube down into the tank, prime the pump, and start working the handle. It's slow, exhausting work. For every minute of pumping, I get maybe a cup of gas. We need gallons. We'll take shifts, Kestrel says. Pump for 10 minutes, rest for 10. Can't burn ourselves out. We work until sunset, taking turns on the pump. My arms are screaming by the end, but we've managed to collect maybe 5 gallons in jerry cans, enough to start the engine, run it for a little while. Not enough for any real journey. We'll do more tomorrow, Kestrel says. Right now we need to eat and rest. Dinner is canned stew and more of the cardboard protein bars. We eat by lantern light, conserving the batteries. Kestrel tells me about the first days of the outbreak. She was in the city when it started, saw the hospitals get overrun, saw people attacking each other in the streets. The military showed up on day 3, she says. Set up checkpoints, said they were evacuating people to safe zones. I went to one of the checkpoints, stood in line for 6 hours with hundreds of other people. When I finally got to the front, they wouldn't let me through. Said the safe zone was full. Said to come back tomorrow. She pauses, stares at the lantern flame. There was no tomorrow. That night the checkpoint got overrun. I watched from a distance. The soldiers tried to hold the line, but there were too many of them. The dead, I mean. They just kept coming. Eventually the soldiers ran out of ammo or got overrun, or both. I saw one soldier, young guy, couldn't have been more than 20. He got pulled down by 3 of them. They tore him apart. How'd you get out? Stole a boat, same as everyone else who made it to the water. Figured if I couldn't go north, I'd go out. Been on the water or near it ever since. She looks at me. You did the right thing going to the lake. It's not safe, but it's safer than land. Doesn't feel safer. It's not about feeling. It's about odds. On land, you're surrounded. On the water, you've got space, visibility, options. She stands up, stretches. Get some sleep. Tomorrow we pump more gas and then we test the engine. If it works, we need to decide what to do next. What are the options? Stay here and maintain. Move to a different location. Try to find other survivors. Head for one of the supposed safe zones. Though, I don't believe those exist, she shrugs. Or just keep surviving day by day and see what happens. I choose sleep. Tomorrow's problems are for tomorrow, but sleep doesn't come easy. I lie on the cot staring at the ceiling, thinking about choices and consequences. About T-Bolt bleeding out on the dock. About the woman who drowned trying to chase my boat. About the hand I bit off to save my life. About how many more hands, how many more lives, how many more pieces of humanity I'll have to destroy to keep surviving. Eventually, exhaustion wins. I drift off. Day 25 since I left T-Bolt's marina. Day 3 at Kestrel's marina. I've started thinking of it as hers. She's the one who cleared it, who's kept it running. I'm just a temporary guest. We pumped gas all morning, taking shifts like yesterday. By noon, we've got another 10 gallons, 15 total. Might be enough to make a real trip depending on where we're going. We haul the jerry cans to the cabin cruiser, start pouring gas into the tank. I'm careful not to spill any. Every drop is precious. When the tank's full, I check everything again. Fuel lines, connections, battery. Everything looks good. I turn the key. Nothing. Try again. Nothing. Battery's dead, I tell Kestrel. Sat too long without running. We need jumper cables and another battery. There's a pontoon boat 2 docks over that might still have a battery. And I think I saw jumper cables in the storage room. We gather the supplies. The pontoon boat is a short walk past the main dock to a smaller finger pier. The boat is there, half sunk, nose underwater, but stern still above the surface. I wade in. The water is warm and murky, and I try not to think about what's in it, and pop the engine cowling. The battery is corroded, but might still hold a charge. I unhook it, carry it back to shore. My boots squish with every step, lake water pouring out. Back at the cabin cruiser, we connect the batteries with jumper cables. Modern engineering is beautiful. Wait a few minutes for charge to transfer, then try the key again. The engine turns over, coughs, dies. Try again. This time, it catches. The engine roars to life, loud and powerful, and the most beautiful sound I've heard in weeks. Yes! Kestrel pumps her fist. Dalton, you magnificent bastard, you did it! I let the engine run, checking for leaks or problems. Everything sounds smooth. The fuel gauge shows half a tank, our 15 gallons. Not enough for a long journey, but enough for options. We let it run for 10 minutes, then I shut it down to save fuel. But now we know. We have a working boat with an engine. We have mobility. So what now? I ask. Kestrel sits on the cruiser's edge, looking out at the lake. Now we decide. Do we use this to explore, find more supplies? Do we try to find other survivors? Do we head for the coast, try to find a bigger boat, and head for open ocean? Is that even possible? Getting to open ocean? There are canals, waterways that connect the lake to the Gulf. If they're clear, we could make it. Once we're on the ocean, she trails off. I don't know. Maybe there are islands, places the infection didn't reach. Or maybe we just drift until we starve. But at least we'd be moving, making our own choices. It's appealing, I have to admit. The idea of leaving this place, of finding somewhere new. But it's also terrifying. We have supplies here, shelter, relative safety. Leaving means risk. We don't have to decide today, Kestrel says, reading my expression. We've got time. Let's explore the lake, check out some of the places I haven't been able to reach without a motor. See what's out there. Then we'll decide. That's smart. Gather information before making big decisions. We spend the rest of the day preparing the cabin cruiser for travel. Load it with supplies, food, water, medical gear, weapons. Kestrel has an impressive arsenal. Spears, knives, a machete, even a handgun with a single magazine of ammunition. Where'd you get all this? I ask. Owner of the marina was paranoid, had guns hidden all over the place. Found this one in a waterproof case bolted under the dock. She checks the magazine, slides it back into the grip. 7 rounds. That's all I have. So I only use it when there's no other choice. 7 bullets between us and whatever's out there. Not much insurance. By evening, we're ready. The boat is loaded, the engine is tested, we've got a plan to explore at first light. We eat dinner, more canned goods, and turn in early. But I can't sleep. My mind is racing with possibilities. Where will we go? What will we find? Is there anywhere left that's safe? Around midnight, I give up on sleep and go to the second-floor watch station. Kestrel is already there, sitting by the window with her spear across her lap. Couldn't sleep either? She asks. Too much thinking. Yeah, I get that. She gestures to the window. Take a look. I join her. From this height, we can see quite far across the lake. The moon is nearly full, bright enough to turn the water silver. And in that silver water, I can see them. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. Shapes moving under the surface. Pale forms drifting in the current. The lake is full of the dead, a massive graveyard that's still hunting. They came to the lake to escape, Kestrel says quietly. Thought the water would save them. Instead, they drowned or got bit, and now they're down there, stuck in some kind of half-existence, trapped forever. You think they're aware? That they know what they are? God, I hope not. The thought of being conscious inside one of those things, knowing what you're doing but unable to stop. She shudders. That's not death. That's hell. We watch the water in silence for a while. Then Kestrel says, You asked earlier what our options are. I've been thinking about it, really thinking. And I think we need to try for the coast, for the Gulf. Find a bigger boat, something ocean-worthy, and just go. There's nothing left here. Nothing worth staying for. What about supplies? This marina has months of food. And then what? Sit here for months eating canned beans until we run out? Then what? We're in the same position, but weaker, older, more desperate. She turns to look at me. On the ocean, there's possibility. Islands, other countries, places this thing might not have reached. At least there's a chance. She's right. Staying here is just delaying the inevitable. Eventually, the supplies will run out. Eventually, something will go wrong. At least, if we're moving, if we're trying, we're making our own fate. Okay, I say, let's do it. Let's try for the coast. She nods, satisfied. First thing tomorrow, we'll take the cruiser out, scout the area, map a route. Then we provision properly and go. It's decided then. We're leaving. I feel a mix of relief and terror. After 3 weeks trapped on that aluminum boat, the idea of voluntary travel seems insane. But what's the alternative? Stay here and slowly waste away? I'd rather die trying than die waiting. Morning comes with rain, heavy and warm. We wait it out, using the time to pack more carefully. Every inch of space on the cabin cruiser gets used. Food in the cabin, water in every available container, medical supplies in waterproof bags, weapons within easy reach. By mid-morning, the rain stops and we cast off. I'm at the helm, Kestrel on the bow with her spear. The engine runs smooth, powerful. We motor slowly away from the dock, leaving the marina behind. It feels wrong somehow. That place kept us alive. Now we're abandoning it. But we're not abandoning anything. We're moving forward. I open the throttle and we pick up speed, cutting across the lake's surface. The cabin cruiser handles well, responds to the wheel better than the commercial boats I used to maintain. This was someone's pride and joy once. Now, it's our lifeline. Head east, Kestrel calls back. There's a cluster of houses on the shore I want to check. Might find supplies. I adjust course. The houses come into view after 10 minutes, a neighborhood right on the water, probably expensive before the collapse. Most of them are damaged, windows broken, doors hanging open. But a few look intact. We approach slowly. Kestrel scans with binoculars she found in the cabin. No movement, she says. Could be clear, or they could be inside. We tie up to a private dock, cut the engine. The silence is immediate and oppressive. On the water, there was always the sound of the motor, the waves. Here, there's nothing. We approach the nearest house. The back door is locked. Kestrel tries the handle, then uses her machete to break the glass, reaches through and unlocks it from inside. The house smells bad. Not corpse bad, but rot and mildew and abandonment. We search room by room, weapons ready. In the kitchen, we find canned goods mostly. The fridge is a horror show of mold and decay. We take what we can from the pantry: soup, vegetables, a jar of peanut butter that's still sealed. Upstairs in the bathroom, we find medication, painkillers, antibiotics, basic first aid supplies. Jackpot. We load everything into a pillowcase we're using as a bag. The master bedroom has clothes that look like they'll fit. We take those too. No point in being picky anymore. Clean and dry is the only criteria that matters. We're heading back downstairs when we hear it. A thump from somewhere in the house. Then another. We freeze. Kestrel points toward the sound, coming from the garage. We approach carefully. The door to the garage is closed. Something is definitely moving on the other side. I can hear shuffling, the scrape of feet on concrete. Kestrel puts her ear to the door, listens, nods to herself, mouths, 3 of them. 3. We can handle 3. She grips the door handle, looks at me. I ready my pipe wrench. She counts down with her fingers. 3, 2, 1. She yanks the door open. They stumble out. 3 of them, just like she said. 2 adults and what used to be a teenager, a family probably, the owners of this house. They must have tried to shelter in the garage, got infected, and have been trapped in there ever since. The first one reaches for Kestrel. She sidesteps, brings her spear up through its chin and into its brain. It drops. The second one is on her before she can pull the spear free. I swing the wrench, connect with its temple. It staggers but doesn't go down. I swing again. This time, it drops. The teenager is coming at me now. Young, maybe 16. Its face is gray and rotting, but I can still see what it was. Someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone who had a life and future until a few weeks ago. I hesitate, just for a second. It grabs my arm, mouth open, going for my skin. I yank back, bring the wrench down on its head. Once, twice, 3 times until it stops moving. Silence returns. We're both breathing hard. "You okay?" Kestrel asks. I look at my arm. The thing's nails scratched me but didn't break skin. Lucky. So goddamn lucky. I'm okay. We drag the bodies outside, away from the house. We'll burn them later if there's time. For now, we just need them away from us. Back inside, we finish looting the house. Find more useful items, batteries, a flashlight, a manual can opener that's better than the one we have. Small things that matter. We load everything onto the boat and cast off. I'm happy to leave that house behind. "Next one," Kestrel says, pointing to another intact-looking house further down the shore. We hit 3 more houses before noon. 2 are empty, already looted. The third has supplies, but also has a dozen of them shambling around inside. We skip it. Not worth the risk. By afternoon, we've circled a large section of the eastern shore, filled the boat with supplies, and mapped out which areas are too dangerous to approach. It's good intel. Useful intel. "Let's head back," Kestrel says. "We've got enough for now. Tomorrow we'll scout toward the canals, see if the route to the Gulf is clear." I turn the boat around, head back toward the marina. The engine is running smooth, using less fuel than I expected. Maybe we have enough for the whole journey after all. We're halfway back when the engine sputters, dies. I try to restart it. Nothing. "What's wrong?" Kestrel asks. "I don't know. It just quit." I check the fuel gauge, still showing a quarter tank. I pop the engine cover, look inside. Everything looks fine, no obvious leaks or breaks. I try the key again. The starter turns, but the engine won't catch. "Dalton, I'm working on it." I check the fuel line. It's connected. Check the spark plugs. They look fine. Then I see it. Water in the fuel filter. Somehow, water got into the gas. "We've got water in the fuel," I tell Kestrel. Must have happened when we were pumping from the underground tank. Probably been sitting there so long it condensed water, or the tank itself flooded. "Can you fix it?" "Not without draining the tank and cleaning the whole system. That takes hours, maybe days." She curses. "How far out are we?" I look around. We're maybe a mile from the marina. In good weather we could drift back, but the wind is pushing us away from shore, not toward it. "We need to anchor," I say. "Before we drift too far." We drop the anchor. The boat swings into the wind, holds position. We're stuck. "Okay," Kestrel says, thinking. "Okay. We've got supplies. We've got water. We can sit here and work on the engine. It's not ideal, but it's not a disaster." She's right. We're better off than I was on the aluminum boat. At least we've got food and water and tools. I spend the rest of the afternoon working on the fuel system. Drain the tank into containers, separating out the water. Clean the filter. Check every line. It's tedious, careful work, and the boat's rocking isn't helping. By sunset, I've got most of it done. But I'm exhausted and running on fumes. We need to stop for the night, try again in the morning. We eat dinner in the cabin, canned chicken and crackers. Kestrel sets up a watch schedule. 2 hours on, 2 hours off. Can't risk both of us sleeping at once out here. I take the first watch, sitting on the deck with the spear across my lap. The lake is quiet tonight. No wind, just gentle swells. The moon rises, bright and full, turning everything silver again. I can see shapes in the water. They're always there, always moving, but they're not approaching the boat. Maybe they're full from whatever they've been feeding on, or maybe they're waiting for us to make a mistake. Around midnight, Kestrel relieves me. I go below, lie on the cabin bed, and try to sleep. The gentle rocking of the boat reminds me too much of the aluminum prison I spent 3 weeks on. I keep expecting to feel the bump of bodies underneath, but nothing bumps. The night stays quiet. I wake to Kestrel shaking my shoulder. "Dalton, we've got company." I'm up and on deck in seconds. Dawn is just breaking, pink light spreading across the water. There are boats approaching, 4 of them. Small fishing boats and a pontoon, all loaded with people. I count maybe 15 total. They're heading straight for us. Are they friendly? I ask. We're about to find out. They slow as they approach, staying about 50 feet away. A man stands up in the lead boat, older, gray beard, wearing a fishing vest over a dirty t-shirt. Y'all need help? He calls out. Engine trouble, Kestrel replies. We're working on it. Where you headed? South. You? North. Heard there's a FEMA camp set up past the causeway, supposed to be taking survivors. Kestrel and I exchange a glance. We both heard the same thing on the radio weeks ago, before the broadcasts stopped. You believe that? Kestrel asks. The man shrugs. Believe enough to try. Better than staying out here. He looks at our boat, at the supplies visible on deck. You got extra fuel? We're running low. Not enough to spare, Kestrel says. Sorry. His expression hardens. Didn't sound like a request. The other boats move closer, surrounding us. I see people readying weapons, pipes, bats, a couple of knives. They're serious. Kestrel, I say quietly, we've got a problem. I see it. Her hand moves to the gun at her waist. 7 bullets, 15 people. The math doesn't work. Look, Kestrel says, voice reasonable. We don't want trouble, but we're not giving up our supplies. You want to keep moving north, fine. We won't stop you. But leave us alone. The man considers this, then shakes his head. Can't do that. We need that fuel. We need those supplies. You can come with us, share what you got, or we take it by force. Your choice. Kestrel, I say. The gun won't be enough, she finishes. I know. The boats are closing in. We've got seconds to decide. Then I remember. The flare gun. I saw it in the cabin, in the emergency kit. Get ready to start the engine, I tell Kestrel. I've got an idea. I duck below, grab the flare gun. Load one of the 3 flares we have. Come back on deck. The boats are 20 feet away now. The people are readying to board. I aim the flare gun at the lead boat, right at the fuel tank. Back off, I yell. Back off or I light you up. The man freezes. You're bluffing. Try me. We stare at each other. 10 seconds. 20. The other boats have stopped advancing, everyone watching to see what happens. Finally, the man raises his hand. All right. We're backing off. The boats retreat. Slowly at first, then faster. Within minutes, they're 100 yards away, continuing north, leaving us alone. I lower the flare gun. My hands are shaking. Nice bluff, Kestrel says. Who says I was bluffing? She laughs, surprised. You would have done it, blown them all up. If they'd tried to board? Yeah, I would have. She looks at me differently after that. Respect mixed with something else. Maybe wariness. She's realizing I'm not as harmless as I look. Try the engine, I say, changing the subject. She turns the key. The engine coughs, sputters, then catches. Runs rough for a few seconds, then smooths out. You did it, she says. It's running. I pull up the anchor. We motor slowly back toward the marina, the engine purring. It's not perfect, but it'll get us home. Home. Funny how quickly that word attached itself to the marina. We make it back without further incident. Tie up at the dock, unload our supplies. The encounter with the other survivors has shaken us both. They're getting desperate, Kestrel says. People are running out of supplies, running out of options. It's going to get worse. Then we need to leave soon, before more of them show up. Agreed. We'll scout the route to the Gulf tomorrow. If it's clear, we provision and go. No more delays. That night, I have trouble sleeping again. Keep thinking about the man with the gray beard, about how close we came to violence. About how I would have burned them all without hesitation if they'd boarded. When did I become someone who could do that? The apocalypse changes you. Strips away the civilized veneer, reveals what you're really made of. I used to think I was a good person, moral, ethical. Now I'm not sure what I am, just someone trying to survive, willing to do whatever it takes. Is that good or bad? I don't know anymore. Morning arrives, and we prep for another scouting run. This time we're heading south, toward the canals that connect the lake to the Gulf. It's a longer trip, we'll use more fuel, but we need to know if the route is viable. We cast off at dawn. I keep the engine at moderate speed, conserving fuel. Kestrel is on watch, binoculars ready. The lake seems empty today. No other boats, no signs of survivors. Just water and silence. After 2 hours, we reach the southern edge of the lake. The canal entrance is visible, a narrow waterway cutting through marsh grass, maybe 50 feet wide. It looks clear from here, but we won't know for sure until we're in it. "What do you think?" I ask. Kestrel studies it through the binoculars. "Looks passable. Won't know about blockages until we try." "If we get stuck in there, we're dead." "I know." She lowers the binoculars. "But we're dead anyway if we stay on the lake. At least this way we're trying." She's right. Again, I turn the boat toward the canal entrance, slow to a crawl. The channel narrows quickly, marsh grass pressing in on both sides. The water is murky brown, impossible to see more than a few inches deep. Something could be waiting down there. Something could be hiding in the grass. We're committed now, no room to turn around. The engine echoes off the water, too loud in the confined space. If anything is nearby, they'll hear us coming. We proceed for maybe a mile. The canal twists and turns, sometimes so narrow the boat barely fits. Once we have to push through a floating mat of vegetation that's grown across the channel. It tears away from the hull with a wet, ripping sound. Then we round a bend and see it. A bridge collapsed across the canal. The concrete span has fallen, completely blocking the waterway. There's no way through. "Damn it," Kestrel says. I reverse the engine, back up until there's room to turn around. We motor back the way we came, defeated. "There's got to be another way," I say. "Another canal, another route." Maybe. Or maybe the only way out is through New Orleans, through the city. Through the worst of it. Neither of us wants that. The city is where it started, where it's worst. Going through there would be suicide. We make it back to the lake, turn north toward the marina. Both of us are quiet, thinking. "We could stay," I say finally. "We have supplies, shelter, relative safety. We could make it work." "For how long? A few months, a year? Then what?" "Then we reassess, figure out the next step." She shakes her head. "There is no next step. This is it. We survive until we don't." She looks at me. "Is that enough for you? Just existing?" Honestly, I don't know. 3 weeks ago, survival was enough. Getting through each day was victory. Now I want more, want purpose, want a future, not just an extended present. "So what do?" I ask. "We find another route, or we make one." Back at the marina, we refuel the boat, check our supplies. We've got enough food for maybe 2 weeks if we're careful. Water for longer if it rains regularly. That's the problem. Fuel is limited. We spend the afternoon pumping more gas from the underground tank. Get another 5 gallons before we're just pulling up water. The tank is nearly empty. "That's it," Kestrel says. "That's all the gas there is. What we have on the boat plus these 5 gallons. Maybe enough for one more long trip. Then we better make it count." That night, we sit on the dock, watching the sunset. It's beautiful out here, peaceful almost. Hard to believe the world ended when you're watching orange light paint the sky. "I had a plan," Kestrel says suddenly. "Before all this. Was going to join the Coast Guard, see the world, save lives. Stupid kid dreams." Not stupid. Yeah, they were. But they were mine. She picks at a splinter in the dock wood. "What about you? What were you going to do with your life?" "I don't know. Hadn't figured it out yet. Thought I had time." Nobody has time. That's the secret they don't tell you. We just pretend we do. We sit in silence as the sun disappears. Stars come out, same stars that have always been there, indifferent to human suffering. "Tomorrow," Kestrel says, "we try the western canals. There's supposed to be a route through the marsh there, empties out into Barataria Bay. From there, we can reach the Gulf. Supposed to be? Never been that way myself. But I've seen maps. It exists. Maps from before. You got a better idea? I don't. So, Western Canals it is. We go to bed early, need rest for tomorrow. But I can't sleep. Again. I lie there thinking about routes and risks and all the ways this could go wrong. Eventually, I get up. Go to the watch station. Kestrel is there, awake. Can't sleep either, I ask. Nope. I sit next to her. We watch the lake together, watch the shapes moving underneath the silver water. You ever wonder if we're doing the right thing? I ask. Trying to escape instead of just settling in somewhere? Every day. But settling feels like giving up. Like saying this is all there is. Maybe it is. Maybe. Or maybe there's an island somewhere that the infection didn't reach. Maybe there's a ship full of immune people. Maybe there's a cure being developed in some underground bunker. She shrugs. Probably none of that exists. Probably we're all doomed. But I'd rather die trying to find out than die wondering. Can't argue with that. We sit up all night talking about nothing and everything, about life before, about the people we lost, about the small, stupid things we miss. She tells me about her brother, about how he loved terrible horror movies and could quote every line. I tell her about T-Bolt, about his terrible coffee and worse jokes. By the time the sun comes up, we're both exhausted but somehow lighter. Talking helped. Remembering helped. We load the boat methodically. Food, water, weapons, fuel, medical supplies, extra clothes, blankets. Every inch of space gets used. This is it. Our final attempt. By mid-morning, we cast off. I take the helm, Kestrel navigates. We head west, hugging the southern shore of the lake. The western canals are harder to find than I expected. The marsh all looks the same, endless grass and mud and winding channels. We try 3 different openings before Kestrel spots what looks like a main channel. That one, she says, pointing. Wider, deeper water? It's got to be it. I turn the boat into the channel. It's barely wider than we are, grass scraping the hull on both sides. The engine's noise echoes loud, disturbing birds that explode from the grass in clouds of wings. We proceed slowly. The channel twists constantly, sometimes splitting into multiple paths. Kestrel navigates by instinct, choosing the wider path each time. Sometimes we guess wrong, have to back up and try again. Hours pass. The sun climbs higher, heat building. I'm sweating through my shirt. My sunburn has mostly healed, but new exposure is making it ache again. Then the channel opens up. We emerge into a wider body of water. Not quite a lake, but bigger than the canals. Barataria Bay, if Kestrel's geography is right. We made it, she says, surprised. We actually made it. From here we can see open water to the south, the Gulf, freedom. We motor across the bay, keeping watch for obstacles. The water is shallow in places. We have to navigate carefully to avoid running aground, but we make steady progress. By late afternoon, we reach the Gulf proper. Open water stretches to the horizon, blue-gray and endless. I cut the engine. We drift, both of us just staring at all that space. Now what? I ask. Now we find a bigger boat, something ocean-worthy, and we go. Go where? Away. Anywhere. Does it matter? It doesn't. Not really. We spend the next week exploring the coast, hitting every marina and dock we can find. Most are destroyed or empty. The few boats that remain are either too damaged to use or too small for ocean travel. We're running low on fuel and options when we find it. A 40-foot sailboat anchored in a protected cove. It's riding high in the water, looks intact. And most importantly, it doesn't need fuel. It needs wind. Can you sail? Kestrel asks. I worked on boats, had to learn the basics. Basics enough to cross an ocean? Guess we'll find out. We approach carefully. The sailboat rocks gently at anchor, no signs of life. We tie up alongside. Kestrel boards first with her spear ready. The deck is clear. The cabin door is locked, but we break it open. Inside is furnished nicely. Sleeping berths, a small galley, navigation equipment, and supplies. Whoever owned this boat had provisioned for a long journey. Dried food, canned goods, water tanks that are still half full. "This is it," Kestrel says. "This is our boat." We spend 2 days transferring everything from the cabin cruiser, learning the sailboat systems, practicing raising the sails. It's harder than I expected, but we figure it out. On the 3rd day, we weigh anchor and raise sails. The wind catches the canvas, and the boat moves, gliding across the water silently. So different from the roar of the engine. We point the bow south toward open ocean. Behind us, the coast of Louisiana disappears. The lake, the marina, the last 3 weeks, all of it shrinking in the distance. "Any regrets?" Kestrel asks. I think about Thibaut, about the people on the yacht, about the family in the garage, about everything I've seen and done and survived. Too many to count. Me too. We sail for hours, the coast falling away completely. By sunset, we're truly alone on the open ocean. Nothing but water in every direction. That night we take turns at the helm, keeping the boat pointed south using the stars to navigate. I don't know where we're going. Don't know if there's anything out there worth finding. But we're moving. We're trying. And maybe that's enough. Day 30 since this started. Day 5 on the ocean. We've settled into a routine. Kestrel handles navigation, I handle the sails and rigging. We fish with lines trailing behind the boat, actually catch things out here, enough to supplement our supplies. The ocean is vast and empty. We've seen no other boats, no signs of life, just water and sky and distance. Sometimes I wonder if we're the last people alive, if everyone else is gone and it's just us on this boat sailing nowhere. But then I remember the shapes in the lake, the faces pressed against the dock, all those people who became something else. They're out there still, trapped in their bodies, hunting. We're not alone. We're just separate. The wind picks up on day 6. Kestrel says it's a tropical system, not quite a storm, but close. We reef the sails, batten down everything we can. When the wind hits, it's powerful, pushing the boat hard. We're moving fast now, cutting through waves that tower over the deck. I'm terrified and exhilarated. After weeks of being powerless, of drifting, of having no control, now we're flying across the water, fast and free. The system passes after 6 hours. We emerge tired but unharmed. Check the boat for damage, find minor issues but nothing critical. That night we see lights on the horizon. Kestrel spots them first. Could be a ship, she says, or a platform, or a settlement. We debate approaching. Could be rescue, could be danger. In the end, curiosity wins. We adjust course, sail toward the lights. As we get closer, we can make out structure, a large vessel, maybe a cargo ship. Lights are on, someone's home. We approach cautiously. Someone on deck spots us, shouts. People appear at the railing, 10, 15 of them. They're waving, excited. "Survivors!" someone yells. "We've got survivors!" A rope ladder is thrown over. We climb up, leaving our sailboat tied to the ship. On deck, we're met by a crowd of people, all ages, all types, maybe 30 total. A woman steps forward. She's older, gray hair, wearing a captain's uniform. "I'm Captain Yara Moreau," she says. "Welcome to the Meridian. Where did you sail from?" "Lake Pontchartrain," Kestrel says. "Made it to the Gulf. Kept going south." Yara nods. "You're lucky. Most people who tried that didn't make it." "Are we the first?" I ask. "No. We've picked up 6 others over the past month. You're all that's left, as far as we can tell." She gives us a tour. The Meridian is a research vessel, was studying ocean temperatures when everything collapsed. The crew and scientists aboard managed to survive, kept the ship moving, picking up any survivors they found. They have food, water, medical supplies. They have a plan. Heading south toward Antarctica, figure the cold will stop the infection. A research station there might still be operational. It sounds crazy. It probably is crazy. But it's something. You're welcome to join us, Yara says. The more people we have, the better our chances. Kestrel and I look at each other. After everything, after all the struggle and suffering and surviving, here's an actual option, a real possibility of safety. We'll need to think about it, Kestrel says. Of course, take your time. We go back to our sailboat, sit on the deck. The Meridian towers beside us, lights blazing against the dark. Antarctica, I say. That's insane. Everything's insane now. At least this has a goal. Do you trust them? I don't trust anyone. But they seem organized, seem like they're actually trying. She looks at the ship. We could do worse. She's right. We've already done worse. Okay, I say. Let's do it. Let's go to Antarctica. We spend the next day moving our supplies onto the Meridian. The sailboat gets tied to the stern, trailing behind like a reminder of where we've been. That night, the ship's engines rumble to life. We pull away from the open ocean, heading south. The crew is experienced, knows what they're doing. For the first time in weeks, I feel like maybe we'll actually survive this. The journey takes weeks. We sail past empty coasts, abandoned cities visible in the distance. We avoid other ships. Most are drifting hulks, could be full of the dead. We stop only to scavenge supplies from places that look safe. I get to know the other survivors. There's Nico, an engineer who keeps the ship running. There's Petra and her daughter Simone, who were vacationing when everything collapsed. There's Wendell, a former soldier who helps organize defenses. Everyone has a story. Everyone lost someone. We're all broken in our own ways, but we're alive, and we're together. And somehow, that makes the horror manageable. The temperature drops as we go south. We pass through storms that make our earlier squall look gentle. The Meridian handles it, plows through waves 3 stories high, keeps going. Kestrel and I share a cabin, small but private. We don't talk much about what we've been through. Don't need to. We both know. One night, maybe a month into the voyage, I'm on deck getting air. The stars are incredible this far south, millions of them, the Milky Way a bright slash across the sky. Kestrel finds me there. Can't sleep? She asks. Thinking. About? About Tybalt. About how if he hadn't been killed, if I hadn't run, I probably would have died in the first days. His death saved my life. Survivor's guilt? I guess. I used to think that way, she says. Used to think I survived because I was smarter or luckier than everyone else. Then I realized I survived because I was willing to do things others weren't. Kill when necessary. Run when necessary. Make the hard choices. She looks at me. You survived for the same reason. Not because you were lucky. Because you were willing. Maybe she's right. Maybe survival isn't about luck at all. Maybe it's about the decisions you make when everything is falling apart. The Meridian sails on, days turn to weeks. The air gets colder, the water darker. Ice begins to appear, floating chunks that we navigate around. Then, one morning we see it. Antarctica. A vast white continent rising from the frozen ocean, pristine and untouched and dead. Captain Yara charts a course for the research station. We all crowd on deck watching the ice approach. After everything, after all the death and horror and struggle, we're here. We made it. Whether there's anything left, whether it was worth it, we'll find out soon. The station appears as we round a glacier. Buildings clustered on the shore, smoke rising from one of them. Someone's alive down there. We anchor offshore, take a small boat to land. The cold is brutal, cutting through our clothes. We're not dressed for this, not prepared. We reach the station. The door is sealed but opens when we knock. Heat washes out, beautiful and welcoming. A man stands in the doorway. He's got a thick beard, is wearing heavy winter gear. He looks at us like we're ghosts. You're from outside, he says. We survived, Yara says. Made it here. Is it safe? Did the infection reach this far? The man shakes his head. Haven't seen anything. We're isolated. Cold kills most things. It should be safe. Should be, not is. Just should be. But it's something. It's a chance. We offload supplies, move into the station. There are 12 people here, scientists and support staff who were working when everything collapsed. They've been surviving on stored food, rationing carefully. With our supplies and people, we can make it work, can actually survive here. That night, I stand outside, looking at the stars. Kestrel joins me, bundled in a borrowed parka. We made it, she says. Yeah, we did. Think we'll ever see home again? I don't know. Maybe home is wherever we end up. She nods. We stand in the cold, breathing the frozen air, alive against all odds. The boat that brought me here, the tiny aluminum boat I spent 3 weeks on, is long gone. Abandoned at the marina, left behind when we found the sailboat. But I think about it sometimes. Think about those 19 days drifting, helpless, certain I would die. I survived that. Survived the attack at Thibault's marina. Survived the yacht shooting at me. Survived the hand climbing into my boat. Survived starvation and dehydration and sun poisoning. Survived the desperate people who wanted my supplies. Survived the ocean crossing. I survived because I had to, because giving up wasn't an option. And now, I'm here, at the bottom of the world, in a place so cold and remote that maybe humanity can start again. It's not much. It's not the life I imagined, but it's life. And after everything I've seen, after everything I've survived, life is enough. The apocalypse taught me that, taught me what matters and what doesn't, taught me that survival is its own purpose, its own reward. I don't know what happens next. Don't know if the station can sustain us long term. Don't know if the infection will find us even here. Don't know if there are other survivors, other sanctuaries, other hopes. But tonight, in this frozen wasteland, surrounded by people who also refuse to die, I'm okay with not knowing. I'm okay with being alive.